That's not even half of the holsters I had to go through just to come across the KSG Lexington and Revere, and in my opinion, the best appendix inside the waistband holster. If you'd like to know why, stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to the concealcarry.com channel. Thanks for tuning in. I am Tyler Tharp, owner of Synergy Training Group, and I'm going to go over with you today why it took me so long to find a decent holster. So back in 2013-ish, I started my journey looking for a decent holster. I'd already had the typical Alien Gear hybrid stuff and a local folder make me some things, and I was never impressed. It never did the things that I wanted it to do. So you know what? I said, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. So I ordered up some foam and a toaster oven and a heat gun and just started figuring it out, started making my own. Back then, no one really made exactly what I wanted. The features that I wanted didn't exist, so on and so forth. Also note, when I first started making holsters, I was carrying at about 3 or 4 o'clock area. I didn't move to appendix until about a year later. Believe it or not, my very first appendix holster was from a guy, CNC, his sticker is somewhere on this thing, CNC Holsters. He since went out of business, but back then he made a really good holster. He was one of the first ones to use CNC, router tables and such to make molds and trim out the shells and whatnot. So guys like him, Filster, Tier 1, I'm not sure if T-Rex was doing it back then, but those guys were like on the cutting edge of making really good holsters. That came at a cost though, because if you're on the leading edge of the industry, you can demand a really good price. And I was early in my journey. I didn't have the funds to put into that. So I just kept making my own. And funny enough, by the time I got done buying all this stuff to make my own, I could have, if I knew they existed back then, I could have just bought a good holster. Well, if you're listening to this and you just want the short answer, it's easy. Just go to KSGArmory.com. You can also go to the SynergyShooting.com website, hit up that partners page, and you'll see them at the top. Them, Palm Industries, Barrel Block, which you'll see here in a minute. Those are some awesome partners that I fully endorse, and they believe in what I do as well. And it's not because they pay me or anything like that. It's just because I am an end user of their product and I truly believe in it. And I want my clientele, the people that I can have some sort of effect on, have good quality gear as well. So back to it, just go to KSGArmory.com for your non-light bearing, go for the Lexington. For your light bearing, go for the Revere. They may be updating these styles a little bit, and I think they have a new name for it maybe. Not totally up to date on that. I've been seeing some sneak peeks on their Instagram, and it has a different name now. But as I know it, this is called the Revere. This holds my Glock 19 with TLR 7. This holds my Glock 48. These are my main 2 guns in rotation. And I do carry appendix on an EDC foundation belt, which also you can find on the websites, or a next belt or core belt if I have thick enough pants for that thick of a strong of a belt to work better. On thinner pants, I like the flexibility of the EDC belt more. It's more forgiving on the hips. But for today's demonstration, we're going to do it on the EDC belt company, EDC foundation, excuse me. So what makes these holsters so great? That's a great question. We've talked in the past what makes a holster quality. It needs to do some things. It needs to be stable on the belt. We got dual DCC mod 4 universals, I think they're exactly called, clips. These are spring steel clips. There's 2 of them with a healthy amount of space between the 2. So it will sit and stay on the belt very well. It would be very stable for you. What does that do for you? That's another great question. That makes sure the gun is in the same place every time when you go to draw the gun. You don't want it in a different spot anywhere on the belt with a different angle. All right? You want it to be the same way every single time. Consistency is a great thing to build into your training. Next up, we have a really good concealment claw that pushes on the back side of the belt. That thing right there helps bring in that grip, that rotates that grip into the body some. So that's good for concealment. Another good thing, they come with a foam wedge specifically this one if you want it, and that helps tilt the gun, the top of the gun, into your body as well. Keeps it from tilting out from the belt. The keel principle, if you're up with the terms on that stuff. Next up, it is safe. It has hard kydex around the trigger guard completely. You cannot get to the trigger with it in the holster. A holster to a pistol is basically a sling and a safety to a rifle. All pistols that are not in use must be in a holster. Simple as that. It is cut for your red dot sighting system because red dots on pistols is the future, and the future is now. You can get it with a full length sweat guard or a mid-length sweat guard. I don't have one that's chopped down for showing. And then also you can tell them to set it up for right or left-handed use. So some love out there for you lefties. So it checks all the boxes. It's secure, it's safe, and it conceals well. It does all the things that I require from a holster. And the best part about it is I didn't have to make it. I just order the thing and it'd be shipped to my door, and that is super convenient. They got some good color options as well. I'm a big fan of OD green. My wife has a Lexington as well for her shield, and hers is purple, of course. And yeah, you can customize it to a point. You know, I'm not sure they're doing any sort of sublimation, which sublimation is where they heat transfer an image to a material. And some people say that that degrades the material and makes it not as strong. I have seen that be the case as well. Back in my holster making days, when I would get sublimated kydex in, it tended to crack more. It was more difficult to work with as well. So be mindful of that. Now, you saw me at the beginning of the video drop probably a $1,000 worth of holsters. Now, some of them I still do use because they're duty holsters or Safariland ALS holsters. And other ones are just because I had to learn the hard way what works and what doesn't work. Now, in the sake of not trash talking different brands and their designs and things like that, I'm not going to pull any of them up and tell you why they suck, okay? But I can put it in a nutshell like this. Universal holsters rarely do their job well. They do a couple of things good, nothing great. Holsters that they advertise can be on the outside or the inside of your belt. Again, same thing. They do neither great. Hybrid holsters that have a softer material against the body end up being very bulky. One of the problems I've also seen with those, or any holster that only has one screw holding the attachments on or the material together, when that one screw fails, there's no redundancy to keep it together and keep it operating in a safe manner. And again, these things must be safe. The holster is the only thing keeping the gun from having something inadvertently hit the trigger and it go bang. It's as simple as that. We have to have some redundancies and things. What do I mean by the one or two screws? There's two screws right here holding this whole thing together. Both of these screws would have to come out for this holster to fail. And some holster makers actually build a second redundancy in it, a redundancy of a redundancy. And they actually attach the holster together with separate screws, and then they attach the clip and the claw with a separate set of screws. So you'd have to, a lot of stuff would have to come loose for this thing to come apart and fail on you. Now, is that likely? Probably not, okay? But if given the opportunity, I'm paying my money, all right, I'm waiting the lead times, all that, I'm already doing the thing, why not go ahead and get the best of the best? Check all the boxes, okay? Checking all the boxes is exactly what KSG Armory does. No hybrid nonsense. They're all safe. They're all durable. They're all going to conceal well. They check all the boxes. Simple as that. Now, the other thing I do want to give an honorable mention to is the Filster Enigma. This is a super non-traditional, or a super awesome non-traditional holster setup. And I like it a lot for folks that don't usually wear a belt. So all my female shooters out there, this is the key. This right here is its own self-contained holster and belt setup. So for scrubs, yoga pants, even fitted jeans that don't have a belt, this is the way to go. Again, it checks all the boxes of being safe, conceals well, durable, has a consistent placement, all those boxes that need to be checked. this is it. The belly bands just are a no-go. They're too sloppy. They're not safe enough. And if you've ever worn one for a period of time, especially in summertime, it gets hot. Like, it just ain't pleasant. Not going to have that issue with this. Again, this system checks all the boxes for those of us that don't want to wear a belt. Lastly, I just want to talk about why would you want to carry with a WML? There's been plenty of videos out there where civilians have gotten into a gunfight and just never needed the weapon-mounted lights. Rock on. I understand. And I'll be honest with you, I don't necessarily have a great reason why I have this TLR7 on here. Back in the day, I thought it would be great to have a redundant light system. Like if I'm torching them up with my handheld and I need to go full on two hands with the gun, then I can drop the torch and not be out of light. When I use the word torch, I mean handheld light. It's a goofy name that runs around in the industry. It's like calling a suppressor a can. But I'm going to tell you, if you have a weapon-mounted light, especially a non-traditional one like the TLR7 or the TLR1 or the X300, finding a quality holster is just going to be a pain in the rear for you. Lasers are even worse. If you have a laser attached to it, just do yourself a favor and take it off, because getting a quality holster is going to be a nightmare and likely impossible. A quality holster will serve you way better than a goofy little laser. I hate to hurt some feelings, but that's just the way it is. If hindsight 2020, I would probably not have a TLR7 on here, which means I would just only need the Lexingtons. But you know, I got it and it's already paid for and it works well. I've had it for a long time, so whatever, it just is what it is. So if you want a light on your pistola, rock on, man. I'm happy for you. The KSG Revere is your answer. If you do not carry with a WML, the KSG Lexington is your answer. If you're a lefty, KSG is your answer. If you're a righty, KSG is your answer. If you're an appendix carrier, KSG is your answer. If you're a hip carrier, guess what? KSG is still the answer. Just put in the notes, hey, I'm going to carry this 3 or 4 o'clock. Those guys know what they're talking about and they know what they're doing. They will just go ahead and set it up for that specific carryable spot. Specific carryable spot. I'm not sure that makes sense, but you know what I mean anyway. Look, I hope this was informative for you. If you do have a pistol that KSG does not quite support yet, whatever it may be in it, or if you have a light on it that they don't support, so on and so forth, feel free to reach out to me and I will surf the interwebs for you and find you something that checks all those boxes, because I can just look at it and know, take all the guesswork out of it for you, and I'll send you a link. I'll help you out. I'd be happy to help you out. Let me use my 10 plus years of doing it the wrong way, learning everything the hard way, help you not have to learn everything the hard way. So lastly, thanks again from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. I love holsters. This is kind of one of my nerdy things among many of them. I love nerding out on what we can make a holster do. And the industry has changed so much in the past 15-ish years. And I'm excited for where it goes in the next 10 or 15. So thanks again for tuning in. Again, I am Tyler Tharp, owner of Synergy Training Group, here with you on the concealedcarry.com channel. We'll see you next time.